This is your chance to turn the storm of negative energy into a calm, unshakable peace. Do you ever feel like you're carrying an invisible weight, an endless loop of doubts, fears, and anger clouding your mind? Negative energy and thoughts can feel like a storm, draining your vitality and blocking your path to peace and clarity. What consumes your mind controls your life. And for so many of us, that's overthinking, stress, and emotional turmoil. These mental states create barriers, holding us back from truly living. But what if I told you that this storm can be calmed? Negative thoughts aren't just feelings, they're patterns. Patterns rooted in toxic environments, unproductive habits, or unresolved emotional wounds. They thrive when we resist them, growing stronger the harder we fight. But don't worry, you can transform that storm of negativity into a calm, peaceful mind. Wouldn't that change everything? In this video, we're diving into 10 powerful Buddhist principles that have the power to eliminate negative thoughts instantly. These aren't just abstract ideas, they're actionable, life-changing tools. If you take away one thing from this video, let it be this. Peace isn't a destination, it's a mindset you can unlock right now. Let's begin. Principle 1. Embrace radical acceptance. Imagine your mind as a turbulent river, rushing with countless thoughts, some serene, others dark and relentless. Negative thoughts are like sharp rocks hidden beneath the surface, threatening to snag you and pull you under. But what if you could navigate this river with calm confidence, avoiding the traps of negativity? The first step is to embrace radical acceptance. Let go of the need to control everything, and you will find peace. This profound truth from Buddhist philosophy holds the key to emotional freedom. At its core, radical acceptance means acknowledging reality as it is, without resistance, judgment, or the relentless need to change things beyond your control. The storms of life are inevitable, but suffering intensifies when we resist the rain, wishing it away instead of simply opening an umbrella. Consider a young professional named Mia. Overwhelmed by a toxic work environment, she spent months fixated on changing her boss's behavior, an impossible task. The more she fought reality, the more drained and frustrated she became. One day, she stumbled upon the principle of radical acceptance. Instead of clinging to the fantasy of a perfect workplace, she accepted the situation for what it was and redirected her energy toward finding solutions. Within weeks, Mia secured a new job that aligned with her values, leaving behind the negativity that had consumed her. In today's fast-paced world, we often wrestle with uncontrollable circumstances, whether it's a failed relationship, a missed opportunity, or an uncertain future. Negative thoughts thrive on our refusal to accept what is. But radical acceptance is not surrender. It is a powerful act of letting go and reclaiming control over what truly matters. Your response: ask yourself, what am I resisting that I cannot change? Start small. The next time you encounter a frustrating situation, pause and breathe. Repeat silently, this is what it is. I do not need to fight it. Gradually, you'll notice a shift in your emotional landscape. The need for control will give way to clarity, and clarity will pave the path to inner peace. Remember, the river of life will always flow, sometimes gently, sometimes fiercely. You cannot stop the current, but by embracing radical acceptance, you can navigate its twists and turns with grace. As the Buddha teaches, peace begins when resistance ends. Today, choose to stop fighting the rain and start walking with purpose beneath the open sky. 2. Understand the mind's nature. Your mind is like a lantern in a dark room, illuminating whatever it shines upon. The more you focus on something, the brighter it becomes, whether it's a fleeting moment of joy or a troubling shadow of doubt. This is the essence of the second principle. Understand the mind's nature. The mind doesn't thrive under force. Instead, it grows more unsettled when you try to suppress its flow. True peace lies not in silencing negative thoughts, but in redirecting your focus toward what uplifts and empowers you. What you resist persists. This timeless insight reminds us that battling negative thoughts head-on only amplifies their presence. Imagine trying to push a beach ball underwater. The harder you push, the more forcefully it resurfaces. Similarly, when you obsess over erasing negativity, you inadvertently give it more power. Instead of suppression, strive for balance. Acknowledge the thoughts, let them drift by, and choose where your energy flows. Take the story of Daniel, a young entrepreneur consumed by self-doubt. Every time he encountered failure, his mind spiraled into overthinking. What if I'm not good enough? What if I'm making a mistake? He tried desperately to block these thoughts, only to feel more trapped. One day, he learned the Buddhist principle of redirecting focus. Instead of suppressing his doubts, he acknowledged them and shifted his energy toward creating a new business plan. Slowly, his inner dialogue changed from fear to curiosity and eventually to confidence. In modern life, overthinking is a universal challenge. We replay conversations, worry about outcomes, and dwell on mistakes. But here's the secret. The mind is a tool, not a tyrant. When overthinking strikes, don't resist it. Channel it. Engage in meaningful activities that require your full presence, whether it's solving a puzzle, painting, or helping someone in need. By immersing your mind in purpose, you rob negativity of its fuel. Ask yourself, what am I choosing to amplify today? Recognize that the mind will naturally wander, but it's your focus that determines the quality of your thoughts. Cultivate gratitude, explore new ideas, and invest in actions that align with your values. Over time, the lantern of your mind will shine less on shadows and more on light. As the Buddha teaches, the mind is everything, what you think you become. Today, let your thoughts become a reflection of the life you wish to create. 3. Develop mindful detachment. Picture yourself standing on a hill, watching clouds drift across the sky. Some are bright and fluffy, while others are dark and heavy. Now imagine that these clouds represent your thoughts. If you run after the clouds or try to push them away, you only exhaust yourself. But if you stay still, observing them as they pass, you realize something profound. You are not the clouds, you are the sky. This is the power of mindful detachment, the ability to see your thoughts and emotions without becoming entangled in them. You are not your thoughts, you are the observer of your thoughts. In Buddhist philosophy, this truth reminds us that our mind is a tool, not our identity. When you believe every thought or emotion, you give it control over your actions and peace. Mindful detachment teaches you to step back and witness your mental activity with curiosity rather than judgment. It's not about suppressing what you feel, but learning to observe without being consumed. Consider Emma, a student overwhelmed by anxiety before her final exams. Her mind swirled with doubts. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? The more she engaged with these thoughts, the more her anxiety grew. One day, a mentor introduced her to mindful detachment through meditation. Sitting quietly, she focused on her breath, observing her thoughts as though they were leaves floating on a stream. Over time, she realized she didn't have to believe every fearful thought. This practice gave her the clarity and calm she needed to study effectively. In moments of stress or overwhelm, mindful detachment can be your anchor. Begin with a simple practice. When negative thoughts arise, pause and take a deep breath. Focus on the sensation of air entering and leaving your body. Visualize your thoughts as passing clouds or drifting leaves. Acknowledge their presence without chasing or resisting them. This small act of mindfulness creates space between you and your thoughts, allowing you to respond to life with intention rather than reactivity. Ask yourself, am I the thinker or the observer of my thoughts? By practicing mindful detachment, you shift from being controlled by your emotions to understanding their temporary nature. Over time, you'll find a deep sense of freedom and balance. As the Buddha said, you only lose what you cling to. Let go of the need to identify with every thought and discover the unshakable peace that lies within you. 4. Practice gratitude to rewire negativity. Imagine walking through a dense forest at dusk, your eyes fixed on the shadows. Everywhere you look, darkness seems to surround you. But then you pause and light a small lantern. Suddenly, the shadows shrink, and you notice the beauty of the trees, the rustling leaves, and the path that was hidden before. This is the transformative power of gratitude, a simple yet profound practice that shifts your focus from what's missing to the abundance already present in your life. The act of appreciation dissolves negativity. This Buddhist teaching reveals a truth about the mind. It can't simultaneously dwell on gratitude and negativity. Gratitude rewires your mental patterns, training your brain to naturally seek positivity even in challenging times. It's not about denying life's difficulties, but about finding light in the midst of darkness. Gratitude reminds us that no matter how chaotic life feels, there is always something to cherish. Consider James, a young entrepreneur battling failure after his first business collapsed. He spent weeks consumed by thoughts of inadequacy and regret, spiraling into negativity. One evening, a mentor challenged him to write down 3 things he was grateful for each day. At first, James struggled to find anything, but he persisted. He began by appreciating small things: the warmth of his morning coffee, the support of a friend, a beautiful sunset. Slowly, his perspective shifted. Instead of fixating on what he had lost, James started focusing on what he still had and the possibilities ahead. Within months, his renewed mindset helped him launch a successful new venture. In the chaos of modern life, it's easy to dwell on what's wrong, but gratitude offers a way out. Start by setting aside a few minutes each day to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. Write them down. They can be simple: a kind word, a moment of laughter, or even the breath sustaining you. Over time, this practice strengthens your mental resilience, helping you navigate negativity with grace. Ask yourself, what am I grateful for right now? Let this question become a guiding light in your daily life. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it's a discipline, a way of training your mind to see abundance where it once saw lack. As the Buddha teaches, radiate boundless love towards the entire world. Gratitude is that boundless love, and when you embrace it, you illuminate even the darkest paths. 5. Always visualize positive outcomes. Your mind is like a painter, and every thought is a brushstroke on the canvas of your future. Where negativity dominates, the painting becomes dark, chaotic, and uninspired. But when you positive outcomes, you create a masterpiece filled with light, hope, and purpose. This is the essence of visualizing positive outcomes, a practice that empowers you to shape your reality by imagining success with clarity and conviction. What you think, you create. What you feel, you attract. This timeless wisdom reflects the incredible power of the mind. Visualization is not just daydreaming, it's a deliberate act of focusing your energy and intention on what you want to achieve. When you vividly imagine positive outcomes, you train your subconscious to recognize opportunities, overcome fear, and act with purpose. Take the story of Sarah, a student preparing for a critical job interview. Overwhelmed by self-doubt, she feared rejection and failure. Then, she learned the principle of visualization. Each night before the interview, she closed her eyes and pictured herself walking confidently into the room, answering questions with poise, and receiving the offer letter. She didn't just see the outcome, she felt it. The joy, the pride, the sense of accomplishment. On the day of the interview, Sarah's nerves were replaced with calm assurance. Her preparation, coupled with her mental rehearsal, helped her perform at her best and secure the job. In moments of stress or uncertainty, visualization can become your greatest ally. Before a challenging event, a presentation, an exam, or even a difficult conversation, pause and close your eyes. Picture yourself navigating the situation with confidence and grace. See the details, the surroundings, the expressions, the positive outcome. Engage your emotions, feeling the success as though it's already real. This simple practice rewires your mind to focus on solutions rather than obstacles. Ask yourself, what does my best outcome look like? Use the power of your imagination to paint that vision with vivid colors and unwavering belief. Remember, the future is a blank canvas, and your thoughts are the artist's tools. As the Buddha teaches, with our thoughts, we make the world. Today, choose to create a world of possibilities by visualizing the life you truly want to live. Every masterpiece begins with a single brushstroke. Make yours bold and bright. 6. Transform emotions into energy. Emotions are like a river, powerful and ever-flowing. If you fight against the current, you exhaust yourself and achieve nothing. But if you learn to harness its force, the river can carry you to new horizons. This is the essence of transforming emotions into energy, a practice of recognizing the power within emotions like anger or frustration and channeling them into meaningful action. Turn poison into medicine. This Buddhist teaching reminds us that emotions, even the difficult ones, carry potential. Anger, frustration, or sadness can feel overwhelming, but they are not inherently negative. They are signals pointing you toward areas in your life that need attention or change. Instead of suppressing or ignoring these emotions, you can transform them into fuel for growth and progress. Consider David, a manager who often found himself frustrated with his team's lack of productivity. His anger built up, spilling into tense meetings and strained relationships. One day, a mentor advised him to see his frustration as a source of insight. What was it telling him? David realized it stemmed from unclear communication and mismatched expectations. Instead of lashing out, he channeled his energy into restructuring team goals and holding constructive one-on-one conversations. The result? Improved collaboration, stronger relationships, and a renewed sense of purpose for everyone involved. In modern life, emotions like anger and frustration often feel like roadblocks. But what if you saw them as tools? When you feel overwhelmed by negative emotions, pause and ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? Anger might be urging you to address an injustice or stand up for your needs. Frustration might signal the need for creative problem-solving or a change in perspective. Once you identify the root cause, channel your energy into constructive actions, whether it's having an honest conversation, pursuing a solution, or improving your skills. Ask yourself, how can I turn this emotion into momentum? The energy within your emotions is a powerful force waiting to be directed. By embracing this principle, you move from being a passive recipient of your feelings to an active creator of your reality. As the Buddha teaches, in the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity. Your emotions are not obstacles, they are opportunities to grow, evolve, and create positive change. Today, let your emotions fuel the journey toward the life you truly desire. 7. Focus on aliveness. In the rush of modern life, we often forget one of the simplest yet most profound truths. We are alive. Every heartbeat, every breath, every moment is a reminder of this miracle. But when negative thoughts consume us, we disconnect from this aliveness, spiraling into overthinking and emotional turmoil. The Buddhist principle of focusing on aliveness teaches us to return to this present reality, anchoring ourselves in the pure experience of being. When you realize how precious each moment is, you will be more mindful of your breath. This wisdom reminds us that life is not happening in our thoughts, but in the rhythm of our being. By focusing on the subtle signs of life, the rise and fall of your chest, the pulse in your veins, you create a gap between yourself and the storm of negativity in your mind. This practice breaks the cycle of overthinking, grounding you in the now. Take Maya, a young professional overwhelmed by self-doubt after a challenging week at work. Her mind raced with questions: what if I fail? What will others think? The weight of her thoughts left her anxious and exhausted. One evening, she decided to sit quietly and focus solely on her breathing. Inhale, exhale. With each breath, she began to notice the rhythm of her heartbeat and the gentle sensations in her body. Slowly, her thoughts quieted, and she felt an overwhelming sense of calm. This simple practice reminded her that beyond the noise in her mind, she was alive, capable, and present. In moments of inner turmoil, focusing on your aliveness is a powerful antidote. Start by sitting still and closing your eyes. Feel the air entering your nostrils, the expansion of your lungs, and the steady beat of your heart. Let your thoughts come and go like passing clouds, but don't cling to them. Return your attention to the sensations of life flowing through you. This practice requires no special tools or environment, just your willingness to pause and be present. Ask yourself, what does being alive feel like right now? This question pulls you out of the chaos in your mind and into the sanctuary of your body. As the Buddha teaches, you only lose what you cling to. Let go of your attachment to negative thoughts and anchor yourself in the undeniable truth of your aliveness. Each moment you embrace this principle, you break free from the grip of negativity and rediscover the simple, profound joy of being alive. 8. Curate your mental ecosystem. Your mind is like a garden, constantly influenced by the seeds you plant and the environment it's exposed to. If you allow toxic influences, negative media, draining conversations, or constant complaints to take root, weeds of doubt, fear, and negativity will flourish. But if you cultivate positivity, your mental ecosystem becomes a sanctuary of clarity, inspiration, and resilience. This is the essence of curating your mental ecosystem, mindfully choosing what you allow to enter your thoughts. What you surround yourself with, you become. This truth is a reminder of how deeply our surroundings shape our inner world. Imagine a person scrolling endlessly through social media, absorbing posts filled with fear, anger, and comparison. Over time, they begin to feel anxious and inadequate, even if their life hasn't changed. Now, picture someone who spends that same time reading a book on personal growth, listening to a motivational podcast, or engaging in uplifting conversations. Their perspective shifts, and they feel empowered to take positive action. Consider Alex, an entrepreneur who found himself stuck in a cycle of negativity. His days began with stressful news updates, followed by meetings filled with complaints and blame. By the evening, he felt drained and uninspired. One day, Alex decided to curate his environment. He started his mornings with a gratitude journal and motivational podcasts. He replaced mindless scrolling with reading books on mindfulness and leadership. He even began seeking out friends who inspired growth instead of indulging negativity. Within weeks, Alex noticed a profound change, not just in his thoughts, but in his energy and outlook. You too can curate your mental ecosystem. Start by auditing your environment. Ask yourself, what am I consuming daily? Who am I spending time with? Identify what brings value and what drains you. Next, make intentional choices. Limit exposure to toxic media, avoid gossip or complaining, and set boundaries with people who drain your energy. Replace these things with uplifting habits. Listen to empowering podcasts, read books that nourish your soul, and connect with people who inspire growth and positivity. Your mind reflects what you feed it. By shaping your mental environment carefully, you create a space where positive thoughts can grow, even during challenging times. As the Buddha teaches, your mind is everything, what you think you become. Today, plant seeds of positivity in your mental garden. Nurture them with care, and watch as they grow into a life filled with clarity, joy, and purpose. 9. Cultivate non-attachment. We spend much of our lives grasping for success, for recognition, for relationships to stay exactly as we imagine. But what happens when things do not go as planned? Disappointment, frustration, and a cycle of negative thoughts take over. This is the weight of attachment. Suffering arises from grasping what cannot be held, the Buddha reminds us. The principle of non-attachment teaches that by letting go of our need to control outcomes, we free ourselves from this unnecessary suffering and invite peace into our lives. Imagine a sculptor working on a masterpiece. They pour their heart into every stroke, every detail. But if they obsess over perfection or the approval of others, they steal the joy of creation from themselves. Now picture the same sculptor embracing the process, pouring their soul into the work without fear of judgment or failure. Their hands move freely, guided by inspiration instead of anxiety. This is the power of non-attachment, to give your best to the moment without clinging to what comes next. Take the story of Rachel, a young professional working tirelessly toward a promotion. She became so consumed by the outcome that every setback felt like a personal failure. Her thoughts spiraled with, "What if I am not good enough? What if I never succeed?" One day she came across a teaching about non-attachment. It encouraged her to shift her focus, work with dedication, but release the need for control. Rachel began to pour herself into her tasks with love and effort, not only for the promotion, but for the work itself. When the promotion eventually came, it felt like a bonus, not the only reason for her happiness. To practice non-attachment, start by identifying areas in your life where you cling to specific outcomes. Is it a relationship, a career milestone, or even the opinions of others? Then, consciously shift your perspective. Focus on your actions and intentions, not on what lies beyond your control. Approach your goals with passion, but hold the results lightly. Remind yourself that true fulfillment comes not only from achieving, but from being fully present in the journey. Non-attachment is not about apathy, it is about freedom. It allows you to love, work, and dream without the chains of expectation. As you let go of grasping, you create space for peace and gratitude to enter. Remember, the tighter you hold, the more you lose. By releasing attachment, you reclaim your power and discover a deep well of inner calm. 10. Anchor yourself in the present. Have you ever found yourself consumed by thoughts of the past, replaying old mistakes, or filled with fear about what the future may bring? The constant noise of regret and anxiety can make it feel impossible to find peace in the present moment. The Buddhist principle of anchoring yourself in the present offers a simple but powerful remedy. Focus on the here and now, quieting the mental chatter that steals your peace. The mind is everything. What you think you become, the Buddha teaches, and by embracing the present, you reclaim control over your thoughts and your life. Imagine Sarah, a young entrepreneur who constantly worried about what might go wrong in her business. She spent countless nights awake, imagining every worst-case scenario. One evening, overwhelmed by anxiety, she decided to try something different. She remembered a simple mindfulness practice: focus on the present moment. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and began to notice the sensations around her, the feeling of the chair beneath her, the cool air brushing her skin, the sound of her breath. She anchored herself in these small, real experiences. Slowly, the noise of her anxieties began to fade, And in that moment, she realized that nothing was wrong. She was safe, and all she truly had was the present. The principle of anchoring yourself in the present is a tool you can use in any moment of stress or overwhelm. The next time your mind begins to spiral into worry, try this. Identify one sensory detail around you. Maybe it is the sound of a bird outside, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, or the texture of a pen in your hand. As you focus on this simple, grounding experience, you interrupt the cycle of negative thoughts and shift your awareness back to the now. It is in the present that you find your true power, because the past is gone and the future has not arrived yet. The only time you truly have is this very moment. It is easy to let the mind wander into worry or regret, but the more you practice returning to the present, the easier it becomes. Each time you anchor yourself in the now, you create a space of stillness and clarity where negativity cannot thrive. The present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it, says Thich Nhat Hanh, a beloved Buddhist teacher. By embracing the present, you unlock the peace and possibility that already lives within it. Let go of the past and future. Anchor yourself in this moment, and you will discover a new sense of calm and freedom. As promised, here is the bonus principle, the secret of letting go. Imagine standing in a quiet field, watching as a cloud floats slowly across the sky. It does not fight the wind, it simply moves with it, drifting freely. This is the secret of letting go, a principle deeply rooted in Buddhist teachings. Negative thoughts, much like those clouds, are temporary. They appear, but they do not need to stay. Release what does not serve you, and your mind will naturally clear. By letting go of these passing clouds of negativity, we create space for clarity, peace, and creativity to rise. Consider Jason, a young entrepreneur who felt trapped in a cycle of self-doubt. Every setback, every criticism would trigger a stream of negative thoughts. I am not good enough. I will never make it. He would hold on to these thoughts as though they were part of his identity, unable to move forward. One day, a friend introduced him to the Buddhist concept of letting go. Jason was skeptical, but he decided to try it. Instead of fighting his negative thoughts or getting tangled in them, he simply observed them, allowing them to drift away like clouds in the sky. He did not resist, he let them go. And as he did, something remarkable happened. The weight he had been carrying began to lift. He found that by releasing his attachment to these thoughts, he was able to think more clearly, act with more confidence, and embrace his journey with less fear. This principle offers a powerful way to break free from the endless cycle of negativity. The secret of letting go is not about suppressing or ignoring negative thoughts. It is about allowing them to be without attaching judgment or power to them. The more we resist or try to control negative thoughts, the stronger they often seem to become. But when we let them drift away without clinging, they naturally lose their grip on our minds. In everyday life, you can practice letting go by simply observing your thoughts when they arise, without judgment, without attachment. Imagine a thought that makes you feel anxious or upset. Instead of wrestling with it, notice it and let it pass by. The less energy you put into resisting negativity, the quicker it fades. Over time, this practice becomes a habit, allowing you to move through life with greater ease and mental clarity. The principle of letting go is liberating. It frees you from the weight of self-doubt and resentment, opening space for creativity, peace, and joy. By releasing what no longer serves you, you unlock your true potential and create a mind that is clear, focused, and at peace. Let go and watch negativity fade away like a cloud in the sky. Life often feels like a relentless storm, where negative thoughts and emotions swirl uncontrollably, hiding our path to clarity. Yet, as Buddhist wisdom teaches us, the storm is not the problem, it is our attachment to it. By embracing practices like mindfulness, gratitude, and detachment, we can rise above the chaos and discover a peaceful mind, unshaken by life's turbulence. Remember, peace is not found in controlling the storm, but in mastering the art of stillness within it. You cannot calm the storm, so stop trying. Calm yourself, and the storm will pass. This Zen teaching reminds us that inner peace is not a destination, but a practice. Each of the principles we explored, from mindful detachment to radical acceptance, serves as a lantern, lighting our journey out of darkness and into clarity. The essence of Buddhist philosophy lies in simplicity and presence. It teaches us that by letting go of negativity, focusing on the present, and aligning our energy with positive growth, we can transform even the most difficult situations into opportunities for wisdom and strength. As the Buddha said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. Let today be the day you begin." Choose clarity over chaos, mindfulness over distraction, and gratitude over resentment. Each small step you take is a powerful act of self-liberation. If these reflections inspired you, remember to like this video, share it with someone who needs a spark of wisdom, and comment below with your favorite insight. For more Buddhist teachings that empower you to live a peaceful, fulfilling life. Together, let us walk the path of mindfulness and enlightenment.